Well, guys, I came into the shop today on a Sunday to finish tearing down this 351 Windsor because I got to pull the heads off of it, pull the whole thing down to absolutely nothing. Check it, make sure it's going to be good, put all blah, blah, blah. You know the story. You've been here before. If you paid attention to any of this stuff, you know what's going on with the 351 Windsor build. And I'll be honest, I just don't have the magic today. I just don't have it in me. Even I, the guy who doesn't ever run out of positive energy, is run a little ragged right now. And I think probably a lot of other people can kind of sympathize with me. We have a lot of things going on in the shop right now. There's motors, transmissions, literally everywhere. You name it, we've got it going on. It's been a busy couple of months, and this is, normally speaking, kind of a slowdown season for me, where I can I've recovered from all the car shows that I've been to, even though I went to one on Thursday, and I went to one on Friday, I went to one on Saturday, didn't go to one today. But all the events are generally kind of over, so I can kind of sort of relax a little bit. But it doesn't really seem like that. I've got so much going on between that 351 Windsor build, the 2 Pontiac builds up at Bob McVeigh's place. I've still got that Lincoln Navigator that's outside that I got to work on. We've got tons of stuff to do for customers that's sitting around here. It just doesn't seem to be ending. It doesn't seem to be slowing down in any way, shape, or form, which is a good thing, especially as a business. It's nice that we don't have to worry about, things slowing down and us being, starving for work. That's a very, very good thing. Realistically speaking, when it does kind of start slowing down, it's kind of a godsend at times because it gives you a chance to kind of catch up on stuff that's been sitting around not getting worked on. It gives you a moment to breathe, kind of resettle yourself and get back to figuring out, okay, now what do I really actually need to do next? Shop-wise, we're packed to the gills. We got quite a bit of work to get done. Obviously, there's always room for more because it's business, but it's been a busy couple of months around here. And I've been really kind of burning the candle at both ends, trying to keep content pumping on the Automotive Adventures with Austin channel. This one here where you see. Trying to get things going, trying to keep things rocking and rolling, keep people interested, and keep the income coming in to kind of offset all the expenditures that I have in my world. And I have spent an obscene amount of money this year to try to get my own personal projects moving forward. And that brings me to kind of a question for you guys. And the reason I want to make this video, and it's honestly, I'll be quite honest with you, not really about me. It's kind of really about you guys and what you want to see out of me and with this channel in the future. I have a lot of irons in the fire, as my old man would say. Carrying around a lot of rocks in my box, big box of rocks. And I don't ever seem to get rid of any of those boxes of rocks. But what I'm trying to do is simplify my life to the point where I don't have to worry about this quite so much. But what I also really want to do is I want to help other people. I want to help other people get to do some of what it is I do. Specifically something like that. My $5,000 challenge. If you haven't been here before, if you don't know who I am and you don't know what it is I'm talking about, my name is Austin. These are my automotive adventures. And that car, I wanted to prove that you could build or buy and build a car in today's market for $5,000 or less. And I think it's possible. I have $2,800 wrapped up in that thing as we speak. Which means I got about $2,200 worth of fun stuff that I can do to it, which I think is very, very doable. But I kind of want to make this a thing. I want to see more creators getting involved in this kind of thing and showing a little bit more of the normal people build process kind of stuff. Not the looking at me, I built a $100,000 hot rod stuff, which is, something most heavy YouTubers can do. Big guys can afford to do that because you got a lot of vendor parts. You got a lot of free stuff from these guys or those guys or whoever. And it could really kind of skew the world that we live in as far as hot rodders and, people that want to have fun and do stuff on a semi-budget. It's really hard to relate to. I've had a lot of conversations over the last couple of weeks with people that I've just run into that watch my channel either at car shows or in the shop or at lunch or wherever. I do kind of have a recognizable face and voice, and people tend to key in on who I am when I'm out and about, and I end up in conversations quite a lot. And one of the biggest things that I've heard is a lot of people are actually really interested in this budget build thing that I'm doing with this LTD. And I'm kind of curious how do I get more people involved in doing this kind of thing? I know Dalton of Pole Barn Garage has done his, called it a poverty tour, I guess, which is, I guess, something kind of a play on the Hot Rod Power Tour, but it's out to the duct tape drags out in Arizona. And that's kind of a similar idea of what I'm trying to talk about here, because duct tape drags has a very similar price cap to what I'm talking about over here with $5,000 or less, where you're supposed to show up with whatever it is and be able to compete with, you know, other people that are out there, not necessarily content creators, with cars that are $5,000 or less, kind of hoopty challenge type stuff. And I think it's a really interesting, wholesome product to be able to put out there for people, because it encourages people to build stuff that's within their means, or at least not massively out of their means. I know far too many people in the hot rod world that have spent an absolute fortune building cars that they can't really afford. You probably know more than a few of those people, that they literally have $50,000 or $100,000 in paint and body work, and they can't afford to put an engine in the damn thing or to be able to drive the thing. You know, I understand that. I have a whole bunch of toys sitting around that are really, really hard for me to either budget the time or the money to be able to put into to really enjoy anymore. And I know that we're not the only ones. Just as content creators, we just happen to do it at a little bit more rapid rate than what you guys do. Typically speaking, nobody's gonna go out and buy 4 or 5 or 6 cars in a year. But as YouTubers, we kind of have to. That's kind of part of the shtick. That's kind of part of the game. So we have to cycle through stuff really, really fast. But I would like to encourage things to go a little bit slower, to kind of go the other direction, to kind of maybe focus on doing stuff like with this LTD that I'm doing. So I'm gonna say all of that to say this small thing. How do I encourage other YouTubers to get into something like this? Not specifically to go out for a drag race like what you're gonna be doing with the guys over at Pole Barn Garage and the Poverty Tour and the Duct Tape Drags thing, but to just build something fun to drive, maybe to take it on Hot Rod Power Tour. I may take this on Power Tour. Would it be a kind of a neat thing to see a bunch of people show up in $5,000 hot rods that they've brought out of a junkyard or dug out of a backyard or whatever it is? It kind of tamed it down a little bit. Bring down the rhetoric, not necessarily just the political rhetoric and everything that's going on in our world today, but bring down the cost of some of this stuff. Make it more attainable. Make it more feasible. How do I get more people involved in that? Now, I've got a pretty reasonably wide circle of YouTubers that I've known over the years and that I'm kind of linked to. Some more than others. You know, a lot of people that I've been connected to in the past, I don't necessarily have much connection to in the current situation, so I'm a little limited on that. But is it something that people would want to see? Because it feels like it is. Now, I will also admit that I'm very new to this whole budget build thing. I am not a budget-minded kind of guy. I tend to go very overboard, as you hopefully have seen on other videos of mine. I tend to go a little overboard on spending money. I tend to, well, this is bad, so now we got to do X, Y, Z. Now you end up with a stroker kit and a whole brand new rotating assembly, and heads are worked, and blah, 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 blah. And I've got $5,000 for the machine work and $10,000 for the parts, and, you know, that's just not a normal person thing. And I'm trying to do a normal people thing with this. And I've been trying to find somebody that can kind of talk me through this also, about the whole like experience of building things on a budget, because it's not something that I do personally, that I've really ever done. And it's really, to be quite honest with you, not a lot of what we do here. A lot of what we do at work is more of the higher end, you know, full complete build kind of stuff, because that's really the only point where there's any kind of profit for a shop. You know, re-ring it and bearing it and put gaskets in it isn't really something we do for professional reasons. It's not good for us image-wise, and it's not good for us economically to do something like that. Versus being able to go through a whole complete build, there's a little bit more profitability involved in that, and we have much more control over the finished end product. Whereas this more budgety thing is kind of a little bit more of a gray area thing. But ultimately, what really got me kind of thinking about this was some guy put up a video the other day about doing some kind of a sponsored thing where he's going to sell a bunch of t-shirts and hoodies and that kind of stuff, and then he's going to give a certain amount of money to one of his viewers, and they're going to spend it doing whatever they're doing. And that kind of got me thinking. I've never really played in the merch game. We've done some of it here on the shop stuff. And the idea originally with some of that was also to kind of do exactly funding projects through selling merch, which, you know, is part of the game. Actually, the shirt that I'm currently wearing is exactly from that. The purpose of that shirt, this shirt, was to get this car, or this car, swapped into something like a AMC 360 with a supercharger, or a Hellcat powertrain. That was the idea. I already have that one. It's a 304 5-speed car. It's super fun. It's enjoyable to drive around. Not the craziest, fastest thing in the world, but a Hellcat or a 360 with a supercharger on it and a whole complete other 1979 AMX, or the other 1979 AMX we have sitting over there, would be stupid fun. The problem is we just flat out don't have the time to do it. I don't have the time when I'm in the shop. Our shop is permanently busy, so finding the time to do something here is almost impossible. I came up here today to tear this motor apart and ended up getting sidetracked with an hour and a half of other stuff, and then I'll just be honest, I just don't have it in me. Everything's torn apart all over the racks, and there's just a very small little section of the shop that I can work in. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about being busy, but it's really limited our ability to do stuff like this, you know, to get into that kind of thing. It's limited my personal ability to do that kind of thing. Again, not complaining, but what I'm thinking of is, what about if I did something to be able to help other YouTubers make these kind of dreams come true and sponsor somebody else to be able to build something else? And I could kind of network with them on their whole process. And I'm thinking, you know, clearly the merch thing, there's an appetite for that. People like buying t-shirts and hoodies and hats and keychains and oven mitts and I don't know, whatever else you guys want to buy. And that revenue, for most YouTubers, is used to pay the bills for all the stuff that they're building, right? That's how it is. You do the revenue, you do the giveaway, you do the whatever you want to call it. You make revenue off of the product, you give a certain amount of that revenue away or a vehicle away or whatever, and that's how you fund your hopes and dreams and YouTube channel. Well, in my case, the problem isn't necessarily the money, it's the time and the energy and the space that I just plain don't have. And more money is not really going to make any difference to that. As weird as that is to say. Short of me getting my own personal giant building to work in, which is not something I want to sell that many t-shirts for. But I think that there's a definite possibility that I could sell enough shirts and t-shirts to maybe sponsor another YouTuber to maybe build something cool. Does that make any sense to you? Because it kind of does to me. As I'm shutting the shop down, one of the things you're probably going to know about me, if you don't already, is that I like helping other people to do things. That's what I do. That's who I am. It's not just because it makes me look good, because it scores me points towards my heaven punch card, or any of the other reasons that most people do. I just generally like helping people. I like enabling people. I like seeing other people succeed around me. Whether or not it reflects back on me or lifts me and my boat up, doesn't really matter as much as I want to love seeing somebody else succeed. There have been so many people in my life that I have helped up and given them a hand, and I've watched them succeed, and it is incredibly, incredibly uplifting for me to see somebody win. Again, not because of anything it does for me personally. It's just something that I like to see happen. I like seeing good things happen to good people. I've thought about and I've kicked around the idea of relaunching my Good Things for Good People channel. I tried to run that before this, all about positivity and helping people out and that kind of thing. And I don't know, I still don't feel like it would succeed. It's just not something that people really want to see. I've unfortunately got the analytics to prove that. But I think maybe the idea of picking another YouTuber and using our network that we're building here on this channel, selling a bunch of shirts and t-shirts and hoodies and hats and mittens and keychains and oven mitts, and using that revenue to sponsor a $5,000 build, to give them the money to buy and build a $5,000 cool car. Would that make sense to you guys for me to do that? Because it would have to be something that we would do together. I can't do that out of my own pocket. I don't make anywhere near that kind of money out of YouTube off of just ad revenue. It's not friggin' possible. I can't do it. You're talking a couple of million views a month to be able to budget that, and I don't get anywhere near that. Not saying I won't eventually get there. I would love to get there someday, in which case I'm going to be able to do all kinds of great stuff, but I would need you guys to tag in on this. And I have thought about a couple of different t-shirt designs and stuff that we could do, and we're heading kind of into the hoodie season, although it's 88 degrees outside and I'm a absolutely soaking wet, disgusting mess right now. I'm just curious if it's something you guys would be interested in. Does it make sense to you? I wouldn't be doing this for people that are just random purchasers. That's not really what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to kind of target this and build kind of maybe like an automotive adventures scholarship fund. Yeah, I like that. An automotive adventure scholarship fund. That's what I want to do. I want to build an automotive adventure scholarship fund where we can sponsor, through our scholarship, a YouTuber to create their own car for $5,000. And we will utilize the revenue to be able to do that. If I can sell enough shirts and t-shirts to make that happen. Which is a lot of shirts and t-shirts. Does that make sense to you guys? Or am I just being ho-hum on a Sunday? And I should just shut up and get back to work. It's very possible that may be your answer. I'm genuinely curious what you guys have to say about this. I'm not somebody who's really played in the merchandising world that much, and I don't know that I have that much of an impact as far as my small little channel here. Is it something you guys want to see? If it is, let me know. If it's not, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I promise I will get back to work tomorrow. Because I have to. It's Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.